Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Wu-Tang is for the kids.
Wu-Tang
now,
for the
you know
children.
what? Besides that, man, Wu-Tang was dropping knowledge and positivity.
Right.
You know, NWA brought the age of destruction.
Damn. Jesus Christ.
NWA brought the age of destruction to our children and our culture.
Wow.
Period. Hey, I respect all of them as men.
Right.
But as the art form, and you want me to speak on the art form, I'm going to tell you what it is. That's where it started.
Wow.
Gangster Chronicles, this is not your average show.
To start things off, man, you know I gotta mention this, man. Special ed. You know, my man went on Drink Champs and said that NWA pretty much started the gay of society. They're responsible for the breakdown of society. And you know what's funny about him saying that, man, is that
well, you gotta get it right, man, because you know he gonna come back and say, "I didn't say the breakdown of society."
Pretty much.
He said, "What did he say? They brought the appetite of destruction for our youth."
Yeah, they brought destruction to our youth. And I didn't have a problem with him choosing Wu-Tang. I love Wu-Tang Clan too. I'm a Wu-Tang Clan fan, but don't get it twisted. Wu-Tang Clan was spitting gangster shit, but from an East Coast perspective. Raekwon, the chef, is talking about selling dope. Why you think they call him the chef? He ain't talking about the chef. He ain't talking about he's Raekwon the chef because he's an excellent cook. He's Raekwon the chef because he know how to whip that work in that Pyrex bowl. He the chef. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if people understand the demographics of what hip hop was before we jumped off the porch with our contribution to hip hop. If you go back as far as I go with hip hop,
yeah, you know, it was kind of like it caused destruction. And to me, what he said, the way I took it was like I took offense to that because he said that almost like, well, NWA destroyed hip hop. And you got to look at it a certain way because at that time, he was signed to Profile Records. Who else was on Profile Records at that time? DJ Quick, Second to None. And Special Ed kind of went into obscurity after that.
Well, I think that came a little down the line.
A little bit later.
Quick and Second to None came along. But again, like I said, if you compare, you know, the rap form of Special Ed, and a lot of dudes were I call it braggadocious rap. Where a lot of dudes, you know, like LL did it a lot.
Well, that's
I'm
what
bad,
it was.
I'm this, I'm that, you know, and I get it. But then there were dudes like, to me, when they first came out, BDP.
Listen to my 9mm go bang.
They were hood to me. Schoolie D. I listen to Schoolie D. I listen to dudes like Steady B and Cool C. You know, that reminded me of block hustling, you know, dudes. You know, it was all kind of stuff I listened to.
And that to me is the biggest point of all of this, is that I thought the whole thing about all of art and rap and all these different things was to express your own opinion, your own perspective, your own experience, your own thing, whether that's like you naming all these different artists. I thought that's what made, to me as a fan getting into it and then wanting to be part of the music industry and wanting to meet people like y'all is like, it's because these were amazing stories, interesting stories. I learned a lot from listening to rap, and it was all these different perspectives that we didn't get from.
Still, you grew up in Cleveland. You grew up, Sean, you grew up in Maryland.
Yeah.
I grew up in Compton. We all grew up as you know, young kids, you know what I'm saying? Saturday morning cartoons and all of that. What would you say as you started growing up and witnessing and start to adapting and seeing shit, you know, as I like to call the underground scene? You know, because when you were a kid, your parents, if you have those type of parents or whatever, good natured parents, whatever, they try to shield you from a lot of shit, right? But let's just face it, we grow up and, you know, we see our first pussy or we hear our first cuss word or, you know, we see our first set of titties or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So we see these influences. We know what we know like motherfuckers pick up a gun. We've seen those scenarios. We've seen it throughout time. You shoot a motherfucker, you kill him, you go to prison, right? You go to court, whatever. We've seen that as kids, whatever. We were influenced by some shit, right?
Oh, 100%.
I watched Superman. I watched Batman. As a kid, did I dress up in Halloween costumes? Superman or Batman, you get me? But I knew I couldn't jump off the roof and fucking fly, right?
Yeah, for
Didn't
sure.
try to jump off the building.
And there might have been some kids who weren't raised properly
That tried
who got up on the fucking roof and jumped off and like, nigga, I could fly, right? But I considered myself to be a little educated with, you know, parents. And even though I grew up in the hood, I wasn't no dummy, right? When I started selling dope, it wasn't because a nigga told me to sell dope.
You did it because you
I
saw
did it because I thought
You
I
wanted
could
the
make
fruits.
some motherfucking money
Yeah.
and I could get myself out of fucking poverty type shit, right? When I started gang banging, it wasn't because a nigga made me gang bang. I saw that as unity for me. Because as a kid who didn't have that older brother,
It was a family.
or had that older uncle, or the uncles was what it, you know, niggas I go to school with and I start hanging with as a kid and I'm whatever. Nigga introduced me to the neighborhood. This is like my family now. You know, these is the homies I'm ready. So that was my influence. Like I said, so when rap records came along, when I heard Ice-T say 6 in the morning, or I heard Easy go to Boys in the Hood was always hard, I'm already one of the boys in the hood. You
Exactly.
feel me? Now, my niggas said that, you know how they do them with the questions, NWA or Wu-Tang or Jay-Z or Biggie or, you know. So they asked my nigga, you know, NWA or Wu-Tang. And he say he choose Wu-Tang because Wu-Tang for the kids. Wu-Tang was NWA in a New York form. Before the time of, you know, because now we got sets in New York, and we are represented with Bloods and Crips in New York now. But there was a time, you know, I've been going to New York since what, fucking 88.
Right.
I knew crews and cliques and niggas had their sections or whatever. I never witnessed Bloods or Crips, but that's another story. Wu-Tang, you know, from a neighborhood, Shaolin, Staten Island. Niggas get down over here. It's been murders. It's been drug deals. Wu-Tang spoke this to you. They told
and it's
you.
reflected in their music.
And
You
they
know,
said they did it too.
clicked up, you know, we started off, you know, AK Shaolin and, you know, pointed to Desert Eagle that his mother's not. And, you know, so to say that that's for the kids and shit is kind of confusing. And then to say that NWA was for the appetite of destruction of our youth because the music was what was, let's face it, the music took off. When motherfuckers were able to hear a motherfucker go fuck and shit and bitch and hoe and nigga my strap and fuck you and fuck the police, it brought another element of to the art. As of
Well, it's funny you say that, Eiht.
Niggas didn't go out and go, NWA, man, one of them niggas went out and said, be like me.
Right.
Join a gang. And a lot of y'all don't even know this. We didn't even claim gangs back when we put out records. You didn't hear me go, nigga, I'm from Trag New and we wear blue.
Well, that's a fairly new thing, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
That's just probably happened over the past. I would say probably Quick was one of the early ones to start really kind of pronouncing where he was from.
Well, if you go back and look at Rhyme Pay, well, actually, Eiht, we talked about this in my book, The History of Gangster Rap. The dude specifically didn't want to advertise that.
Exactly.
For not only safety reasons, but also popularity. So if you look, all the early dudes that were from sets wore neutral colors on their album covers, in the videos, or they wore black. So, I mean, it's like...
I didn't want to alienate myself because, first of all, I considered myself reporting for all street niggas. I didn't give a fuck whether you was a Crip, Blood, if you was from the enemy Crip hood, or I didn't give that didn't. I wanted all niggas who were in my walk of life to bang my music because I'm speaking on. It don't matter because we wear blue or you wear red. I bet you this happened to one of y'all over there. I bet you it happened to the homie. I bet. So it wasn't like I was trying to tell kids across America, oh, do what we doing. You get me?
Bang.
Get in a 6'4" and claim Trag New and shoot at your enemies and do all that shit. Because if you listen to my records, I always told you the consequence of banging.
And that, to me, is one of the keys to this.
I never told you that your life was finna be lucrative and fun by being from the hood and gang banging. I never told you that on records. I told you what a lot of niggas went through growing up in my walk of life. So basically, we never spoke on the fucking, I guess you want to say the rewards of gang banging or being from the hood. It was always
look at growing up in the hood.
If you
what happens
look
in the song, Eiht, break it down at the end of the song.
Growing up in the hood, I talk about whatever. Menace to society, straight up menace.
Yeah.
I talk about the flip side of neighborhood, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote songs like Nigga Struggling. I wrote songs like The Hood Took Me Under. I wrote songs that basically portrayed the gangster lifestyle, but it never ended up because I don't give a fuck how rich or lucrative or, hood niggas is driving in Rolls Royces now and Lamborghinis and shit. But a true hood nigga know there's pitfalls behind that. So it was never portrayed or exploited to the youth that this is what you do. You get me?
And I think that's the big part that's missing because Schoolie D, Ice-T, NWA, yourself, Quick, a lot of the early, most popular artists always broke down the pitfalls. Project Pat came later. He's another dude that was always talking about you're going to get incarcerated, you're going to get shot. This person, look at Colors, Ice-T, talking about, sister got tracks on her arm. What is that from? Drug use. I mean, it's like everybody is breaking it down in different ways. You're going to get jacked.
And then there's another thing I paid attention to when they asked him the question, and he reverted to saying something like, "So for real, like this is what we doing?" Like when he spoke on the fact that NWA was getting popular and the music was, so he made a comment like, so for real, this is what we doing? Like to say like, okay, we finna let hip hop let this in. This is what we finna do. So we finna let niggas start talking about driving in old school cars and wearing khaki suits and saying bitch and hoe and fuck the pole. So that's what we finna do? Like, what do you mean? That's my artistic expression. That's what I'm doing.
I'm gonna play what he said right here, real quick. If you
Go ahead.
Make sure I'm gonna play this right here. I'm gonna play the comments said by Special Ed. He even got a Jerry curl, so he can't talk shit about nobody.
Wu-Tang.
Okay.
Wu-Tang is for the kids.
Wu-Tang
Now,
for the
you know what?
children.
Besides that, man, Wu-Tang was dropping knowledge and positivity.
Right.
You know, NWA brought the age of destruction.
Damn. Jesus Christ.
NWA brought the age of destruction to our children and our culture.
Wow.
Period. Hey, I respect all of them as men.
Right.
But as the art form, and you want me to speak on the art form, I'm going to tell you what it is. That's where it started.
Wow.
That's where the agenda started.
Well,
It didn't start there. And it
that was the
in
start of the demise of his career.
But it was but all those things were happening in society for decades before NWA, before Ice Cube wrote his first rap. He had nothing to do with the creation of any of that. That had been happening in the United States of America for decades.
But then after that part where we just played, he went on to say some shit like for real, this is what we doing? Like speaking on the music that NWA was getting popular. He said Wu-Tang was for the kids, and did he say like there was educational?
It was positive and uplifting.
My nigga Raekwon said he pointed a gun at a mother's knot. They
And there ain't no hate on the Wu-Tang because we all
no.
everybody up here love the Wu-Tang.
It's not even hating on Wu-Tang because they were expressing
They were
expressing the same shit. We growing up in the projects. We living on Staten Island and Shaolin. That's
Everybody
our
was telling
hood.
their
That's
story.
our spot. And this how we get out. They words reflected
And
where
All gangster rap was. I'm sorry to cut you off.
but even not to cut you, but you hear when he said that the expressions from everyone in the room was like
What are you
they
talking
sort of kind of laughed at one point, like, nigga, are you for real? Like, whoa, like they. And then he listened what he said, like they destroyed the culture of what, hip hop?
That's what he pretty much said. And he
Because-
tried to clean it up a little bit. He tried to clean it up and dress it up. Soren, I want to hear your take because you was about to say something. I know you're going to say something profound.
my thing is this. When you listen to Cash Rules Everything Around Me, Can It All Be So Simple? These are not happy songs. They're very sad.
It's gangster rap.
It's gangster rap from the East Coast perspective, but it's also, well, I'd say it's more street reporting, that type of stuff, because it's not gangbanging.
Well, it's
but
reality rap.
It's reality
It's
rap.
reality rap for
Reality
sure.
rap is street reporting. But my point is, when Raekwon and Inspector Deck and all the, in particular, when they're doing their verses, they are not, to Eight's point, they're not celebrating we're in the hood. They're talking about the struggle, the problems, the disappointment,
Exactly.
the anger, and they're also doing it just as MC8 did, just as Ice Cube did, in their perspective from the Staten Island perspective.
To me, all reality rap was a bunch of guys talking about their neighborhood from their perspective.
Right.
Now, I will admit, during about 95, 96, once record companies discovered that gangster rap was lucrative, you saw a bunch of crazy groups start popping up that were ultra violent, kind of like,
But still,
that's entertainment.
But the thing is,
I want to say my nigga was high or something. That's what I'm going to just say. I'm going to say he was high or something what he thought. Maybe he didn't think it through. You get me? Because I just don't see how you can even fix your mouth to say some dumb shit
there's
like
two
that.
things of this.
Gangster Chronicles, we gon' tell you how it goes.
If I lie, my nose will grow like Pinocchio. We gon' tell you the truth and nothing but the truth.
Gangster